Okay, so we're going to demo the product so far. There's a new feature or new offering within the DoCrunch product using the same stack that we have developed. What we're demonstrating now is a new module that we developed since over the last 1.5 weeks, which is giving you the view of what is the user experience from the applicant side. So let's assume we created a set of dummy users. There's one called Sarah Gray. You can do a social login, and she can actually log into the application. And she's presented with the screen, which, if you recognize this is nothing but a URLA. It stands for the Universal Residential Application, or Universal Residential Loan Application, URLA, which is also called as 1003 in the mortgage circle. That is the form that is very long. It has 10 different sections to it, the last one being the signature and the first one being the borrower info. So anybody who's applied for any loan is very, very familiar with that. And it is a complex document. There are 500 odd fields, and those fields can actually grow bigger depending upon the number of documents or supporting documents that you may have to submit. What we're doing using the DoCrunch fundamentals and using the same building blocks that we can very quickly assemble to build any kind of solution bundle. This is one classic example, the second part of the application that we use, that we built. So let's behave like Sarah Gray, who is a loan applicant, as you see at the bottom. She's got a drag and drop facility to upload a whole set of documents. And the expectation is each of these pieces, that is, of the actual URLA, is automatically filled. So that's the beauty. You no more going page after page after page. And one of the problems that the loan applicants or the loan officers have told me is there's a lot of loan abandonment rate, which actually jacks up the price of the overall loan, the cost of processing a loan. And as you probably are aware, it's $11,000, which is really ridiculous. So we are here to cut down that cost and bring it down to just a matter of minutes. It's all a pure function of how quickly the users or the loan applicant can provide all the documents that they require. And that is provided as a queue at the very beginning. Sorry for moving back. So we will go through each of these. And there is a color convention that is very easy to understand for the user, as and when each of these categories are fully submitted and there is no more action to be taken by the loan applicant or the loan officer also, because the loan officer also has a view on the other side to the same status. These bubbles will change in color. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. We are going to upload. I got a set of documents ready for Sarah Gray. There's a bank statement. These are 3 different bank statements, as you can see: Bank of America, Chase, and yeah, there are 2 bank of statements actually. Or I could be wrong. Let me just see which one is this. This is a dummy Bank of America statement. This is just a bank statement. I apologize. This is First Citizens Bank. It is not Bank of America. It's a bank statement. First Citizens Bank. That's also for Sarah Gray. So essentially, what we're trying to impress upon you is there are 3 different banks, and our job is to not just read these documents and then strip out all the data, but also be able to perform some calculations and computations, which would otherwise take a lot of effort. We'll see that happening in a matter of seconds or minutes. These are pay stubs, as you can see, W-2s. So right now we have a limited set of documents, but you can easily extend these to property appraisal documents, property documents, assets, 401ks, and whatever non-liquid assets like retirement accounts and such. You can see how rapidly each of these documents are being processed. That means we have detailed data for each of the documents. Now, as soon as the documents are uploaded, there are a few validations that must occur, right? There are multiple names and different names. It's basically going to give a warning or an alert saying that these are all the documents that have been submitted for different individuals, and the loan applicant will have an opportunity to remove or tell the system not to consider a specific individual's documents. From that point on downwards, the system will behave as if that person or that individual is not even a part of the loan. Right? So there are several other validations which we are defining the business rules for using agentic AI and a good amount of prompt engineering. a combination of those. There are certain dynamism that we need to bring in into these business rules. So it is again all AI driven, all the way from document parsing till the business rule implementation and the validation that you see here. So as you can see, one key thing that I do have to point out here is all these categories are not just plain labels. They are first of all indicative of all the documents that are required generally for a loan applicant to take the maximum benefit of the DoCrunch system, whereby it not only shows the color code of the sections that automatically have been finished by way of simply uploading the documents. And I'll lead you into some of these sections also to show you how it has actually picked up the data from the documents that you uploaded and filled them out. So you see the progress bar is now showing different colors and the legend is here. The red ones are obviously the declaration and agreements, which we are not self-approving. It is something that the loan applicant has to go physically and then mark them as complete. Yes, these are the documents. Let's take a look at the W-2s. These are all the familiar same reuse of the documents that we've already seen in the earlier module for the actual loan approval mortgage process, which is a downstream step of this application that we're showing you here. So yeah, you can edit and you can make any changes, save those changes, and you should be good to go. Let's just make some academic, say 20 cents. I don't want to change these much. Whatever changes that you make here will be exactly replicated in the respective sections that you see here. And quickly moving on, the document vault is a very quick, easy button for you to come to this section of the document. You can actually get into any other document and look at it. So that gives the human in the loop an opportunity to correct the documents and then look at side by side, put the documents along with the translated values for the document parsing. So let's take a look at one of these documents. Let's say we'll go into the assets and the liabilities, and these are all the documents that we have shown. The Bank of America, which shows $578,578. The First Citizens Bank has a very big value, 598. And what DoCrunch essentially is doing is it's going through all the documents. Not only is it automatically filling up this particular section for you, but it is also giving you a total of what is your cash in hand. Well, in this particular case, seems like there's more than enough amount, cash in hand, so easily satisfies the down payment requirement. And there are so much of these fields are again editable, and if there are any discrepancies during the process of document crunching, 80 or 90% of the document is already filled up. The form is filled up for you, and you have the opportunity to further edit it or add or make any corrections to it. Right? And these can be done both by the loan officer sitting on the other side of the mortgage company, as well as the loan applicant, which is the current role that we're in right now. So the only thing remaining to be done once each of these fields are filled up is very quickly go in and look at your declarations. And I'm just going to basically randomly mark these. And actually, I don't know, something that I did must have closed. Yeah. So these are all logic driven. Once you click on yes, there are dependencies. The rest of the questions are perhaps not relevant. So I will not, without going too much into detail on what this question actually is and what those other dependent questions are, I'll just mark it as yes for yes. And let's fill it, give it an amount. Have you been declared bankruptcy? So let's say no to this because it's not a thing that we want to do here. Borrower signature. In the future, we're going to have a DocuSign kind of a functionality where we don't have to depend upon a third party for signatures. So we'll have to do the cost evaluation for that if it's really profitable to use our own in-house signature functionality. But for now, we're going to either use DocuSign or whichever makes the best financial sense. So once this section is filled out, the next section is for you to completely review your entire application form and submit. Nothing new here. And make sure you check all the required boxes. And that pretty much is it. At this point, we can go back to our application progress. We completed all the steps. And you see very well, once the document, much of these steps are still work in progress. But over the last 1.5 weeks, we were able to quickly develop this entire solution bundle for the pre-filling of the form and for a very complex form that too.